This time on Kawaii-Fi Radio, the autumn anime season is here and we're so not ready.
Help me, stepbro, I'm stuck in the new anime season.
Kyle tries to get Aaron on the romance train. That or you're mellowing in your old age like I am.
No, no.
I've always been a sap.
Yeah, you've always been a sap and I love my action.
And we talk about some of our favourite gems from the summer season.
But he's a messenger of God and he goes up to heaven and all of a sudden he's like really attractive.
I have problems with this.
It's 10-minute episodes, but every episode is just wow.
It's over 9,000!
Nani? Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
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 Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Konnichiwa and welcome. You tuned into Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast we dive into the world of anime, manga, and all things in between that may relate to Japanese pop culture.
Maybe.
I'm Kyle, with me is Aaron, and we've got Tifa as well. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
This episode, it's a new anime season. Ooh. And if we're being honest, there's not a lot that we're super hyped for, which is weird. Because autumn is normally a blockbuster season. It is normally jam-packed. And back in the early days of the podcast, when we were doing, covering everything, even just in mention, we'd spend, in one case, we had to split the episode in two because it was 4 hours long to cover everything. And now, historically, autumn's a busy season for anime. So I don't know what's going on, but there's not a lot this season. And the stuff that has come out is kind of...
Yeah.
There's
one we won't talk about.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of generic, knockoffs of other good shows this season.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, Otome game style ones which look just generic, like they're not really reinventing the wheel or making anything different about it. There's a lot of Am I Actually the Strongest light novel spin-offs. There's a lot of
Isekai retirement.
It's kind of a bit disappointing. That being said, there are some good ones. We haven't got 10 that we're excited for. We've got 8 this season. We've all kind of chipped in and had a look and
all agreed on the same ones.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, look, stick around. We've got some interesting choices for you. I'm sure there'll be something interesting in there. There are a lot of sequels this season as well, which we'll touch on briefly. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one, and this may be what we refer to as a catch-up season, where you have the opportunity to go back and catch up on some of the shows that you were interested in and missed in the last, 12 months. There may be capacity for you to do so. Obviously, if you are new to the podcast, welcome, hello. If you're watching on YouTube, hi. You can see us. We're here.
We're actual people.
Oh my gosh.
We're not VTubers. Not to say that they're not people, but you know what I mean, right?
You can take that clip and run with it.
Oh my god.
It's just like we have a corporeal form. And if you are enjoying what we're doing and like to support us, we also have a Patreon, and we'll be talking about that because Patreon members do get to vote on our next upcoming episode for Halloween. We'll explain more about that towards the end of the show. Anyway, we've got all the details in the episode description. It is time for us to get stuck into the new season.
That's a lot of anime.
Oh, there's so many.
No, I didn't watch them all. Autumn anime.
Help me, stepbro, I'm stuck in the new anime season.
Why? Why? We're not even 3 minutes in. That's going in the trailer. Okay, let's dim down this noisy
Lovely
backing
guitar.
music. Yeah, we're embracing the fall of the leaves.
The fall of mankind.
Because we're
you've got
totally not in Australia.
Yeah, well, we've got spring.
No.
No. All right, look, there's one show that everyone on the team is pretty keen to watch, and that's Dun. And that's kind of for obvious reasons. This is probably the biggest new show which is coming out, and I'm pretty hyped for it. Tifa's pretty hyped about it. Tifa actually put us onto it when she said, "Oh, that's actually getting an anime." I'm like, "Wow, this looks interesting." And then I binge read the comic, and it's so good.
The intro is really good as well.
Yeah.
It's done by Creepy Nuts, the same person who did Bing Bang Bong for Mashal.
They also did the Call of the Night OP as well.
They did Spy
Creepy Nuts are
Family
good.
as well. They did one of the Spy Family
they did
ones,
too.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I remember listening to one of the songs on the trailer. I was like, this seems a little bit lackluster for an opening, so I might have heard the outro.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And
you'd know the intro if you heard it.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
It slaps.
It's off. Sweet. That's what we want from Creepy Nuts. Perfect.
Slapping the Creepy Nuts?
Anyway, Dan to Dan, this is a action comedy supernatural shonen. Everyone's excited for it. It doesn't currently have a rating. It's TBA, but I'd say PG, maybe M depending on how faithful they are to a couple of scenes in the comics, into the manga, because there is a little bit of blood and gore in some scenes, so that's kind of the question. Now, if you aren't aware of what Dandadan is, it's a story about two high school students. You've got Momo, she is from a family of spirit mediums, and her classmate Okuran, who is an occult fanatic. Now, after Momo rescues Okuran from being bullied, they begin talking, but then have an argument because Momo believes in ghosts and denies aliens exist, and Okuran believes in aliens but denies ghosts exist. So, of course, we have to prove each other wrong. Like, come on, this is how it goes. So, the Momo goes to an abandoned hospital where a UFO has been spotted, and Okuran goes to a abandoned tunnel rumored to be haunted. And to their surprise, they both encounter what they were looking for. And in these dangerous situations, Momo awakens a hidden power, and Okuran gains the power of a curse. He also loses his balls. So,
they turn into Creepy Nuts.
Sure. Look, this is good fun. And I've been reading the manga, and it's really well paced, and it's got a lot of slapstick comedy in it, like good style slapstick comedy. The cast of characters who get added, the side characters, are all actually good characters. There's no one who's just added in for the sake of it. They all play a role. Also, like, Turbo Granny is the best ghost ever, and you will understand after the first episode.
Okay.
Yeah, Turbo Granny is the ghost that Okuran is meant to go and encounter.
And she go fast?
Yeah.
Gotta go fast?
Gotta go fast. So, yeah. Look, a race between her and Sonic would be pretty interesting. So, yeah, look, just saying. Like, so this is being developed by Science Saru. They're the studio behind it. They did Devilman Crybaby, so we know that they can handle, high gore content as well.
Didn't they also do Scott Pilgrim?
Yep, and Keep Your Hands Off Izuken, Ride Your Wave, Night is Short, Walk On Girl. They've done a lot. Like, we love Science Saru on this channel. Sometimes, like, the story plots won't necessarily hit on some of their shows, but the animation is always top notch. So, you can always guarantee it's going to be something beautiful to watch. Airs on Fridays at 12:25 a.m. So Friday mornings. Sorry, 12:26.
Nope.
Yep. In Tokyo, the greater Tokyo area. We do not know how many episodes yet. And this is actually the case for pretty much everything this season, because we're still technically a week out, and those announcements don't come until after episode 2, typically, unless it's been confirmed as being 2 core or something like that.
Well, I saw a thing today, and most of the animes aren't starting till like mid to late October.
Some of them are a little late. Dandadan straight away. Shangri-La's the second week, for instance, and some of the others are in the first week, second week, and then there's some that are in November.
Yeah.
Which is like,
Really pushing it back there.
Yeah, so I think there must be, maybe that's why this season's been a bit weird. Maybe there's something going on Japanese TV at the moment that we're not aware of. Maybe there's like the equivalent of like a month of telethon or something like that. Like maybe they've got like some big international event or something that is taking up that space. So, we did see that happen with the Olympics where, shows were pushed back a couple of weeks and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll find out. So it's not like we've got the Olympics on at the moment. So, yeah. Anyway, this is going to be on Crunchyroll, Hulu in the US, ADN in France and Germany, and Netflix in some areas. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I think it'll still do well as well, considering the leak that happened with Netflix and Down to Down being one of the biggest shows other than like Ranma Half and ReZero as well that got leaked, but it was a lot of dun episodes. But luckily, I think everyone was really good about it and was like, yeah, no, we actually want to support the creators because we've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah, and I mean, I was kind of surprised about the whole, like, I mean, we did talk about this on a previous episode, obviously, but the whole leak situation around this was really wild because everyone's like, how have all these shows ended up leaked? And it's like, well, some companies they contract to aren't very good at keeping things safe.
Yeah.
But at least we know there won't be any filler episodes of, like, you know, episode 6.5 because we didn't have stuff ready to go. Because, like, if they've already got enough stuff to be leaked, then... yeah, that's good signs for production quality. Anyway, Fridays, it's going to air Crunchyroll, Hulu, ADN, Netflix. It's going to be good. I'm very excited for this. All right, Aaron.
Yes.
Shangri-La Frontier Season 2.
Yes.
What do?
What do?
Guy who plays terrible video games goes to the store to find new terrible video game. Clerk goes, no more bad video game, only good video game. And he goes, okay. He goes into good video game with bad video game skills, which make him even better at video game. He fights a big bad boss. It scars him because it marks him as, like, his prey, and he values him as an equal. So he goes off and does other things. And then there's a whole season where they fight one boss. And then... it leads to them revealing that there is a plot progression to the story of the game, which is what we're going to be seeing more of. It's more of the bosses, how the world changes, because it's one of those MMOs where as you progress, the entire world changes and the entire world progresses with you.
They are story-bearing bosses.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because he's done that and he's cleared several special events that nobody else has seen before... he's drawing a lot of attention to himself, which is what he wants to avoid doing.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a reputation.
Yes, as the creepy bird mask guy.
Yeah, yeah.
The nudist.
Yeah, like, he can't wear armor because of the curse that's on him. So
The scars of Lycagon.
yeah. He's like he wears the dumb bird mask, which is great. 10 out of 10 bird mask. This actually, I didn't realize this, but Crunchyroll co-produces. We've got a few this season, actually. So Shangri-La Frontier Season 1 and 2 were co-produced by Crunchyroll, and they are exclusive rights holders for it internationally. Studio is C2C, which is who did Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, Hitori Bocchi, Otaku Elf, Handyman Saito in Another World, and a slew of others as well. But those are probably the ones that stick in people's minds recently. PG-13, Sundays at 5 p.m.
Oh, that's
prime time
quite
slot.
early.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
actual
I'm
daytime.
really surprised. Yeah. Starts on October 13, so this is a delayed one, so we won't get the it until the second week. Literally, yeah.
Oh, that's actually perfect timing for me.
Yeah. It's a perfect time for me too.
Yeah. Great. Let's go.
Day after my wedding. Action adventure fantasy video game. If you liked like the principle behind Sword Art Online of like putting on a headset and going into a game or Log Horizon, you'll like it. It's just not as bad as Sword Art Online as far as the thematics.
The character isn't cringy Kirito.
He's not. Yeah. He's not.
He wants to play the video game. He doesn't want to
be the best like no one ever was.
I was going to say other things, but sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't go there. Anyway, season 1's really good. 24 episodes already out. Go check it out if you haven't. It's actually genuinely a breath of fresh air in that whole like
MMO, VR,
style
yeah.
game. Yeah. We all really enjoyed it. For those of us who watched it from the
Pacing was
team.
great. The songs were great. The characters were
The
great.
opening
Animation.
was just so
Both of them.
like da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Danger.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
schmick. Anyway, let's go completely the opposite end of the genres here. Ranma and a Half is coming back, and it's being produced by Mappa.
Is this what, like 40 years later?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Wowzers.
However, the most recent Ranma episode was in 2013. So there's been a lot of specials, but the main series itself finished quite a while ago. The problem was with the main series is that it didn't really follow the manga at the time, and then it just kind of ended, whereas the manga does have an actual end, and I've read it. And I wouldn't necessarily say the end of the manga is necessarily very good. It's a traditional Japanese open ending. But it's not a bad story. And if they do what they did with Urusei Yatsura, where they pick only the golden story arcs instead of the filler arcs, it'll be really good. So Mappa's producing this. As we said, it was originally produced in the 80s and 90s. First season actually got cancelled, and then they had to redo the idea for season 2.
Oh, dang.
So that's why season 1 ends really oddly. It's like, yes, I'm going away to train. It's like, that doesn't happen in the manga. It's because the show got cancelled. They moved networks, changed studio for season 2. Yeah. Comedy, fantasy, romance, martial arts. This is a gender bender. One of the original ideas of the gender swapping stories. So you've got Son Tendo, who runs the Tendo Martial Arts School, accompanied by his 3 daughters. Akane, Nabiki, and Kasumi. One day, the sisters' lives are turned upside down when their father announces that he has promised one of them to be married to a fellow martial artist's sons in the hope of carrying on the family legacy. In addition to their mixed reactions when the fiancé arrives, the last thing the Tendo family expected is Rano Otome and his father, Genma. Ranma has been trained in China with his father until an unfortunate accident changed them both. Now, when water touches them, Ranma turns into a girl and Genma turns into a giant panda. Ranma half follows Ranma as he attempts to get along with his newly betrothed, the youngest daughter of the Tendo sisters, Akane. As the two begin to attend the same school, they deal with the fellow friends and rivals, all of whom have something to say about their engagement. Now, the original series kind of went martial art of the week, and it was really bad for a while. It gets better.
I promise. Just wait.
I promise it does get better. And if, like, some of the it's like the, what was it, like ramen delivery school of martial arts. And it's like they use the ramen box to hit people, but then they've got to hold the ramen stable and stuff like that. And then they had, like, you know, calisthenics dancing style martial arts with the ribbons from the Olympics and stuff. And it's like, what are you doing?
Buying time.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm hoping they trim that right back, because, like, some of the, like, don't be wrong, some of those stories do have important characters to be introduced, but the amount of time they spend on those stories was far too long in the anime. So I'm hoping that they'll trim it right back down, and if we can cover the entire story arc in 100 episodes as opposed to 300, that would be perfectly paced. So if they do what they did with Urusei Yatsura and have 4 runs of 25, that will perfectly cover the story. You will not miss anything critical. So fingers crossed, we'll see how we go. This is going to be on Netflix worldwide. It is a Netflix anime exclusive. They are the ones who have backed it. They haven't co-produced it to our knowledge, and we do not know how many episodes there are going to be yet. PG-13, as Ranma is, because it does have
Bits.
Mappa's producing it, who obviously, like, look, Mappa, say what you will about their working situation, same with A1 Studios, they do create beautiful anime. So we know visually it will be pretty good. They did JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man, Hell's Paradise, Dororo, Vinland Saga, Yuri on Ice, Zombieland Saga, Banana Fish. Some of our favorite animes have been produced by Mappa. Just, you know, we hope they start treating the staff better. Yeah. So either way, you know, check it out. Netflix, that starts on October 5th or 6th. We haven't got an exact date or time for release on Netflix, but that's a Saturday, Sunday. So hopefully Monday, Netflix worldwide, you should be good. So
I think
it is meant to be weekly.
Yeah, I think this, like, trend of Mappa and Netflix combining together to do remakes is kind of interesting, because we also have the One Piece remake that's coming up, the anime remake, and that's also Mappa and Netflix.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they're going down this route in comparison to previous works they've done, because all of these remakes seem to be them at the moment. So
yeah, I think it's also interesting because, unlike some of the other ones which we were discussing last night in the chat about how, like, you know, some of them where they're full Netflix OVAs, like, they're not showing up on the listings because they're not broadcasting in Japan.
yeah.
All of the ones that Mappa's doing remakes on are still getting TV broadcast in Japan, even though they've got the Netflix component, which is great to see. So we'll see how this pans out, but it's looking good. Looking good. Whether the comedy stands up is another matter, because it is, like,
Fairly dated.
Urusei Yatsura's comedy did struggle.
Yeah. It looks good though.
It looks beautiful. Oh my god, the way they've done Lum's hair in Urusei
know.
Yatsura's reboot is absolutely incredible. Like, she does look much like in the original it was just green. In this, she looks like she's an alien. She looks like she's from another world, and that's how it should always have been. Okay, Yakuza Fiance, Tifa.
Yes.
I don't know if this is necessarily a pick of yours, but you are aware of it.
I completely forgot that this was coming out, but this is like really popular online, right? Everybody's talked about this prior to it getting an anime as well, and then when they said they were going to do an anime, everyone was just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And I think it's based in Osaka, like in the Kansai region as well.
Yeah.
In comparison to Tokyo Yakuza, it's like the Kansai Yakuza, which I think is a very interesting element to it, and everybody likes the Yakuza romance stories.
Yeah, they do. It's interesting you mentioned the Osaka thing as well, because there's apparently going to be on Amazon Prime, and I don't know why, because I don't have Amazon Prime listed as a broadcast partner for this.
Oh,
but
really?
apparently Amazon Prime is releasing a 1 hour special, like, preview, like, a story set before it.
Oh,
which is only going to
okay.
be available for like 3 days on their server and then off. And it's like, I'm sorry, what?
I mean, Amazon Prime in Japan is a really, really big like streaming service for their anime because they don't have Crunchyroll, right? So Crunchyroll has the monopoly on Western countries. So in Japan,
This
it's
is
like
true.
Netflix, Amazon, and Disney. But Amazon was the prime one before Netflix and Disney, right? So...
Yeah. I think we might leave Amazon Prime Japan as a question mark as a possible broadcasting partner for this then, because that makes a lot of sense. This is, as Tifa alluded, crime and romance. What I find interesting is the studio doing it, because it's Studio Dean, which is the original Konosuba series, and Days of My Stepsister, Log Horizon, Fate Stay Night. I was like, they don't sound like very violent. And then I saw what else they've done. Higurashi, Hellgirl. So, okay, so yeah, they can do it. And the artwork for this looks
yeah, it's
pretty
beautiful.
Pretty full on, yeah. The stories... Okay, I'm just going to read it because it's... We watched the trailer and Emma was just obviously being Emma. She's like, yes.
every like panel of the manga that I've seen, I'm like, this looks like it's going to be entertaining, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. I think it would be like really funny and it would be great in that aspect, but I'm not sure how far the story is going to go in itself, or is it going to be like The Way of the House Husband, where the story doesn't really matter as much. It's just like the funny elements of things that are happening.
Yeah. I think we should probably mention that this may have trigger warning for some people in it, just based on some of the stuff listed in the trailer. So just so you're aware, there are some kind of intense themes on this. It's likely going to be rated M or
it's a sign-in series as well, so it's for an older audience.
Yeah, so it focuses. So the Somei Renji, she is Somei Yoshino's grandfather. Sorry, Somei Renji is Somei Yoshino's grandfather and leader of the Somei Group, the Kansai region's biggest Yakuza group. When he arranges for her to be married to Miyama Kirishima, Yoshino has to move to Miyama Clan Estate, the Kanto region's largest Yakuza group. Kirishima warmly welcomes Yoshino and is such a pleasant, personable, and nice young man that nobody would suspect he comes from a Yakuza family. This puts Yoshino at ease, even though she was initially feeling insecure in this unfamiliar place. But then a certain event leads to Yoshino witnessing the real side of Kirishima. So, also they're in school, I think.
Yeah, she's a high schooler. I don't know if he is a high schooler or if...
Or posing as one.
Yeah. But I think she's like the final years of high school or something like that. Yeah. So he's like, oh, she can be married off now.
Yeah, the character design's really good.
Yeah.
Like, the character design is very much in line with Seinen, where they look more like they are adults as opposed to, obviously, the ones where we see where they look like they've been aged down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks pretty good. Like, this is going to air on Monday at 11 p.m. Starts October 7th, and it's going to be on Crunchyroll International, Annie Plus Asia for, I believe, Hong Kong, Singapore, Indonesia, and the Philippines, and Amazon Prime Japan, we assume, based on the information we have on that special coming
11
out
p.m.
is
is pretty early. I would have thought it would be later.
Yeah, especially considering the content that's been involved with it. So I don't know what's going on. If actually that's the thought. If any of our listeners are aware of what's going on with Japan's broadcast stuff at the moment, like is there something that's rearranged all the schedules on like TV Tokyo
I know
and
that
stuff?
they have the their ASEAN summit or something like that for the first week of October. So that's why I think a lot of things are in the second week. But I don't know anything else that might impact it because that is being hosted in Japan this year. So
yeah. I mean, that makes sense from like a security standpoint, but I just don't imagine like there's going to be broadcasting much of it.
Apparently they are, because when I was in Japan, especially in Osaka, it was like everywhere. They have little mascots for it. It's all over the trains. It's just like everywhere. They're making a really big deal out of it, and it's like shown on TV and stuff. So I think they're being broadcast onto TV.
Comes to Japan for the ASEAN summit.
Yeah.
Collect the memorabilia and merch, but no, you can't enter that area. It's locked off.
Yeah.
Not sure. Okay, I have no idea on this one, but both of you do. So, Blue Lock versus Under 20 Japan, second season of Blue Lock. I know it's soccer/football. It is PG, and it is to do with like high school students trying to join the national squad or something.
Trying to be the best striker so that they can be selected for the Japanese team.
This isn't like, people get voted off the island and killed, is it?
It's depending on your performance as a striker in the mini games and tasks that they perform. It's sort of like Survivor in a sense.
Yeah, it's like more intense than your usual sports anime in a weird way, even though it like isn't. It's like mentally they're kind of like, it's me versus everyone.
Yeah, they're even like planning how to take down their own team members so they
Yeah.
can survive and proceed.
So it's Squid Gamey.
Yeah, kinda, except a lot less violent.
Less fun. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Like I remembered I was turned off for it because I was like, oh, I've heard it's quite violent, but like I think the most violence you see is episode 1 where a guy gets a bloody nose.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah,
I thought there'd be like, people getting their metal studs and sticking them into people's faces and stuff.
no, none of that.
Okay.
Which was what I was afraid of. Yeah. One of the big characters in this under 20s tournament that's coming up is named Julien Lochi.
Julien.
And he is a French soccer player. And he looks so much like Terry.
Brilliant.
And I want Terry to dub him because Terry also speaks French.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So, like, hey, casting people, I know it's already been done, but, like, Terrence Dry, maybe. Looks the role, speaks French.
Has voice acting experience before.
Yeah.
Good at ad-libbing.
Very good at just everything he does.
He can fill the lip flaps where you need.
And he can also run.
Boy can run.
Boy has too many legs.
Boy has very long legs. And I say that as someone who's 6'3".
I say that as somebody who's seen his legs.
We should get Terry back on at some point.
We should get Terry back on at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to see when he's next back in Perth and for his schedule. That'll be good.
Fly him in.
Yeah. Okay, well, Blue Rock is also co-produced by Crunchyroll, truth be told. So there you go. This is kind of interesting because we had that period where we had all the Crunchyroll originals and they weren't great. Like, it was kind of hit and miss. And now they're making less of a deal of it. But the shows are pretty good.
I think that maybe they just like tried something and they were like, hey, okay, maybe, we are the anime network of, a lot of places. Maybe we should try and make our own anime. And then they were like, maybe we don't have all the skills to do this. We should probably work with other teams that are better suited for this, which I think...
Yeah. Like, High Guardian Spice was a prime example of them not knowing who their target audience was and not knowing how to produce an anime.
But I do appreciate that they learnt and now they're just helping other studios because it means that they can probably get more funding, more backing in order to create these animes. So.
Well, that's what I was thinking as well, because it was the same with producing Solo Leveling, because they helped back that and supported as well. Instead of them being directly involved in the production process now, they're going, these are the ones we want to have developed. We will support you financially to put this across the market, but obviously that means we get exclusive rights,
I think they did the same with God of High School.
God of High School, Tower of God.
The big names.
The big ones, yeah. Chainsaw Man, I think they helped with a little bit as well. They weren't like the lead production partner on it, though. I think they were just for like a financial supporter only.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Crunchyroll exclusive in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix as well.
Yeah, it's on every service ever, basically.
Yeah, I think there was like a conglomerate, and they said, look, if you throw in some money, we will, help make this come out. I mean, it's Mappa, so money. They were like, give us the money, we'll do what we want.
Insert Mr. Krabs here. I like money.
Blue Lock, I didn't realize was being produced by 8-Bit, and they do Reincarnated as a Slime. They also do Irregular at Magic High School, Season 3 of Eurocamp, and this is a bit of an old one, but Infinite Stratos.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Infinite Stratos was weird. It was a harem anime, but it's probably one of their highest rated shows outside of those ones. So before that, they were kind of like known for doing rather bad harem animes. Infinite Stratos, just production quality wise, was actually like outstanding for them, whereas before they were kind of a bit like, you shouldn't have been given the license for this. And then after that, they went, okay, we'll do better. And IS was probably the first time you went, wow, this actually is, you guys can actually pull it out. So, yeah. This is going to air on Sunday morning, literally bang on midnight. So, like, you watch, it's Saturday night, hits midnight, Sunday morning, it's on. Like, yeah. So, that starts on October 5th. 5th, 6th, I think it is, for the overlap because of the, so Sunday mornings, it should be on the streaming services if they're following the direct. Well, actually, seeing as Crunchyroll is co-produced and already has the dub and sub content for it, you should have it on the service on Sunday, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, should be good. Right. Tifa.
How could you?
I'm scared.
You should be. It's Uzumaki. So, for those not aware, Uzumaki is a horror anime by Junji Ito, the pretty much master of Japanese horror manga.
Should we insert the footnote of it has nothing to do with Naruto?
Yes, it does not, because Naruto was actually named after this manga. No.
Yeah, don't be like me and go, oh, Uzumaki, I know what that is, and then open it and go, oh, these aren't ninjas.
These are dead people.
they're very... Oh, that guy got Rasengan.
Yeah, so...
But the,
Uzumaki just means spiral. So.
Yeah. I was going to say the Rasengan and stuff like that. The style of it is after the Uzumaki, like the spirals and stuff. The same with the spiral on Naruto's belly.
Yeah.
And on his sleeve.
Also,
and his
like,
back.
Yeah.
And...
There's also, like, I think part of that was because it was based off, like, the Uzumaki whirlpools, which is near Osaka. So there's a big bridge which goes over area, and there's just lots of whirlpools churning underneath. And that inspired the fishermen to make the fish cake swirl, apparently. I read that somewhere. I might be wrong, but that's what I heard. Naruto inspired by those whirlpools makes sense to me, I guess, because that's how
Naruto-maki.
Yeah. Bingo. Anyway, Uzumaki, Tifa, this is probably the first Junji Ito show that actually looks good.
Yeah. And it's been...
And that's not to say Junji Ito's bad, it's that the adaptations have been bad. Sorry, anyway.
Yeah, this one has been in production for like a very long time. I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago we saw images of potentially what it could be, and everyone was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then it was just stuck in production for so long. And then we got these other Junji Ito stories, like the short stories and stuff, and they were not great. And so... people were kind of worried about this one, but it's been in production for so long, and there's only 4 episodes for this.
Yeah.
And it's all in black and white, which I think helps the story so much, because the thing about Junji Ito and his stories is that the manga itself, the art style, is such a big part of why it's so great. And if you can't get the art right, then it's just not going to convey what it needs to convey, no matter what the story is, because he's also done stories that are already made, like stories by other people, and he's just turned them into mangas, and his art style gives so much more direction to the story as well. So that is such a big part of how to tell a Junji Ito story correctly, and with these shows that aren't doing that, it becomes an issue. But Uzumaki has kind of been able to, so far in the trailer, being able to showcase the right kind of style, and the black and white, I think, really helps with that as well, because it makes it so much more dramatic. We
watched the latest trailer last night, and I just turned to Emma and I went, I might be sitting this one out. This seems like a lot. I also was quite tired, but yeah, I was looking, I'm like, that's a lot to process. Interestingly, the studios involved in this and the way this is being set up is actually very similar to a project that was done last year. So Akatsuki, who's one of the studios helping, did Housing Project C last year, which was also 4 episodes running in the month of October exclusively on Toonami. This is the same thing happening again. This is airing for 4 episodes on Toonami in October in Halloween month. So, I think there's clearly a plan with Toonami now to do short-run 4-episode shows that are horror or spooky inspired that fit in with the Halloween theme for October going forward. And that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
I would like to see that become an annual thing, like 4 episodes of shows that can lead up to Halloween. You've got something you can put on Halloween night if you want to stay in and watch anime, or you've got something to, watch in the lead up to celebrate it. The other studio, oddly, is Studio Drive, who we do quite like. They did Season 3 of Konosuba. They did To Your Eternity Season 2, The Demon Prince of Momichi House. They're a relatively new studio, but they have got a lot of tenured staff who've come from other studios to join them. And the quality of their artwork's generally pretty good, so this is going to be good. I guess we should probably give the horrifying synopsis of what Uzumaki is. So, the story focuses on... all right, well, I'll read it directly because this is like the Viz Media publication thing. Let's leave this town together, asks Shuichi Saito, a former classmate of Kirei Goshima, a high school girl who was born and grew up in Kurozocho. Everything from a strange whirlwind, billowing smoke from the crematorium and the residence is turning into spirals. People's eyes spin in whirls, a tongue spirals, and the bodies twist unnaturally. In an attempt to escape the curse of the spirals, Kirei decides to flee from Kuozocho, but can she get away from this turmoil? So yeah, basically people become a little bit weird, and like in the trailer, someone's eye begins to spiral, and then the eye actually goes into the spiral.
Yeah, that's the classic one.
Eat a person with the hole in their head using the spiral. It's a bit full on. That was kind of the point when I went, whoa, I was not expecting this. Like, now that I know what it is, I will eventually watch it, but I was just like, I need a moment.
Need a quick breather.
Yeah. At the moment, the only official location to watch it on streaming is HBO Max in the US, which is just called Max now, of course, but we're going to keep calling it HBO Max because don't forget that HBO are not required to follow. This is quite interesting. So you know how like there's like broadcast regulations in the US? It didn't apply to cable programs. HBO is one of those ones, which is why HBO has always had looter content, because they didn't have to follow the broadcast rights. Yeah. So yeah, that gives you an idea on why HBO has and Max always have content which probably would get complaints on normal broadcast TV in the US. But yeah, so this originated from a manga. It's Junji Ito. He's, a very celebrated mangaka when it comes to it, and this is hopefully going to be the first time they do his work justice. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, and all that. Either way, that starts airing on Toonami on Sundays on the US East Coast, September 28th. We don't know what the HBO Max release schedule will be, but I'm sure there will be ways to watch it eventually. What was our connection with Max here, Tifa? Does it end up on Prime? Binge. Okay, so probably Binge in Australia and other Max subsidies worldwide. There may be other places you can watch it. It might be on... I wouldn't be surprised if someone loads it to YouTube. Honestly. Either way, should be interesting. Let's move on to something that will hurt. No. Even more. This is TsumaSho, which is If My Wife Becomes an Elementary School Student. We touched on this briefly a couple of months ago, and then I ended up reading the whole manga and was very sad. So this is... The concept of it sounds bad, but there's nothing in it which is objectionable. It's very wholesome. It's very much a story about dealing with grief and how we process grief. So, Keisuke Nijima has lived in grief since his wife Takei passed away 10 years ago. But when a young girl visits claiming to be her reincarnated, Keisuke and his daughter Mai are drawn into a miraculous reunion. As the girl reveals intimate details only they could know, the Nijima family slowly begins to heal, rediscovering love and warmth in the most unexpected way. Now, to be completely clear, the father does not hook up with a 10-year-old. That does not happen. And he's very like, no, we cannot do this. And, you know, if you want to, once you come of age, we will discuss it then and there. But right now, I'm going to be respectful and, you know, we're just going to see what happens with this, you know, because things could change. You know, the story focuses basically on the father and daughter predominantly because both of them haven't done anything in the 10 years since the wife died. And during that time, they've basically become static in their life. They have, you know, closed themselves off. They don't have any friends to go and see. They don't have, you know, any social circles or anything. And considering that for the daughter, she was still in school when her mother died, that's impacted her and she hasn't been doing a proper job. She was doing a work from home job, but it like because of that she wasn't socializing, so she became a little weird, like, you know, as you do without lack of social interaction. So the mother returning kind of reinvigorates them to reclaim their lives, if you will. But as with all these types of reincarnation stories, there are twists and turns and buts. And the girl who the mother's consciousness has reincarnated into, she has issues with the mother of, you know, her mother who she's reincarnated to. So it's a bit, there's a lot of twisting turns in this, and it is a really beautiful story, and the ending is very painful. I don't know if they can cover it in one season, but just be aware that if you're going into this, it is a beautifully and well-crafted story, but it is going to hurt you if you get too attached to these characters, even if you don't. I had to put it down for like a couple of months before reading the final 5 chapters because I knew what was coming. I knew how it was going to pan out because they kind of lay it out and they explain everything very well throughout the series once, you know, things are discovered. And then, you know, you have to process that. And it was very well done because it's all about processing that grief of loss and, you know, finding a way to be happy and to move on with your life in a good way. And all of the story elements are wrapped up in it as well. Nothing's left open, which was really good. So it's kind of like a one and done sort of thing. Like if they did this for 25 episodes, that would probably be enough to cover the whole story. But I think this would probably be one season of 12 where they end on, like, you know, one of the spots where one of the issues is resolved and then they can come back for a second season if it does well. So yeah, either way, the studio is a bit odd. It's Studio Signpost, which did Beelzebub, Kingdom, and Ultramarine Magmel, and I didn't really watch any of those. So
neither.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the only Beelzebub I thought you might have, but sorry, Tifa.
Kingdom is quite popular. There was the conversation about, I think that's the one where they use CGI, right? And in the first season, they were like, don't know about this, but later it got really popular, which is why they keep continuing. So
yeah, I mean, these guys did season 3 to 5 of Kingdom so far.
Okay, so the better seasons that everyone likes.
Yeah, so that's a. There you go.
That'll do it.
This is going to air on Sundays at 10 p.m. Starting on October 6th. It is a drama, romance, seinen, reincarnation comedy. The comedy is kind of a bit of a question. There's a little bit of like silliness to it, if you will. But I'd say the drama is probably like the hard bit. We don't have any rating attached to it, so it's not PGM or anything like that. So
it's R.
No.
All right. Full gore scene when the mom dies. Nothing.
No. Watch it on Crunchyroll, either way, from a manga. Now, the last one we're going to chat about was one that Emma picked. This is called Blue Box. I'm also quite interested in this because I'm a romance simp, so hey. This is a romance, sports, and shonen series. It is about 2 third-year students in junior high. So you've got Taikei Inomata, who's a third-year student in junior high, attends Aime Academy, an integrated school with a major sports program. Having joined the high school badminton team, Taiki tries to attend open practice as early as possible, but no matter how early he goes, he always arrives second in the gymnasium. The person one step ahead of him is Chinatsu Kano, a first-year student in senior high and Taikei's crush. Chinatsu is the rising star of the basketball team, and the gap between her and Taiki could not be greater. Although Taiki is a decent badminton player, his popularity is nowhere near that of Chinatsu's, making it even less likely for his feelings to be reciprocated. However, in a strange twist of fate, she ends up living in Taiki's house. Wanting to become a worthy match for Chinatsu, Taiki pursues the same dream as his crush to partake in the nationals. Taiki starts training harder than ever before, all for the sake of building a strong relationship with his new housemate. I do not know the context around the housemate, but I do not believe their parents get married or anything like that. So it's going to be like really cute and romancy and sports. There's going to be sports ball and sports shuttlecock, like that's it.
You put the blue lock on the blue box.
Yeah. Telecom Animation Film is doing this, and these are one of the old studios. They did Nagatoro, Seven Deadly Sins, Orange, Tower of God, Astronaut, the recent ones. They're also the studio for Lupin the Third and have been for quite a while. Going back to pretty much the first season, I believe, actually. Thursdays starts on October 3rd at 11:56 p.m. I don't know why. All right, that's kind of the main picks that we've got. There are some that we do want to note that are returning. So we've got ReZero Season 3, DanMachi Season 5, Bleach 1000 Year Blood War Part 3, Sword Art Online Alternative, Gun Gale Online 2, the spin-off, Dragon Ball Daima, and we need to mention it, but Natsume's Book of Friends is now on its 7th season, and each season is 25 episodes, so like...
I looked this up,
watch.
right? Okay, so the last season in Japan was 2017.
Oh.
So, but the English dub was 2022. So they didn't do an English dub for a long time, and then I think because of the success of that as well, they've done the next season. But that's why I was like, oh, I thought this was done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, there you go. That's kind of it. If, like, look... I know we're probably going to have missed a few, but these are at least our picks for this season. And, if you've got something that we've missed or you think that, deserves a bit of limelight, drop it in the comments section. We'd like to know. But because of that, it's now time for a season in review.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Why do we watch that?
Definitely in my top 5. Season in review.
Now, unlike the autumn anime season, we actually have many to talk about from the season just gone.
So much.
There's so many good shows, like
And so many new manga that are starting that are really good.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, there's 2 of them that I could just go on about.
You will have to tell me after. I might have to start reading them.
Yes.
Excellent. Because a lot of the big mangas have ended, but that's that's a topic for another time.
Ending.
Or are ending. The last couple of chapters. So obviously we've talked about the new season. So let's talk about the one that's just finished. So first up, Aaron, you went for actually surprisingly, we've seen the return of short form anime.
Yes.
Which is like what?
Aaron did a romance. So get crazy.
So this is the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies.
Yes, and the title basically tells you what you need to know.
Cool.
So basically there's a magical girl and an evil lieutenant runs into her and he falls in love with her while they're doing this big city battle, and he comes to realize that she's living in poverty basically because of her familiar, which is taking all of the money from her jobs because she works like 3 or 4 jobs. And
oh my god!
Yeah, and he's just he's this. Do you remember the ASCII art of the cats with like the full human bodies? He's one of those.
Oh,
and he just like sits around at home smoking all day, gambling, drinking.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and then they I think it's episode 6. They introduce a second magical girl. And all she says is the F word. It's hilarious. And her familiar is like a balding bird man with like long blonde hair. Dude, the character design on it is peak.
And we thought the familiar in Madoka Magica was like evil. This, like, don't be wrong, that was evil, but this is a different type of
No.
evil.
Madoka's still way more evil than this.
Yeah.
Because the familiar, like, as they get closer, he starts coming over to her house. And the familiar's like, hey, dude, what are you doing coming over here? You know you shouldn't be here. And he's like, you're treating her wrong, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to make sure she's eating and, thriving. And he's like, yeah, whatever. But he's a messenger of God, and he goes up to heaven, and all of a sudden he's, like, really attractive.
I have problems with this.
It's such a show where you're watching it and you're like, what happened? Like, it's 10-minute episodes, but every episode is just
wild.
Wow.
Yep, fair. You can watch this on Crunchyroll, Annie Plus, Bahamut Anime Crazy, and Bilibili and Prime Video in some areas as well. It's
a genuinely, like,
it's a trip.
if I got into romance for it, it's good.
Fair. That, or you're mellowing in your old age like I am.
No, I'm having fun.
No.
No, I've always been a sap.
Yeah, you've always been a sap, and I love my action. And there is, like, little to no action in this, but it's got me going.
Wow, that's saying a lot. All right. On that note, more romance. Makeine, Too Many Losing Heroines. This has become super popular this season, and I called it. So this is based on a light novel, and it's about all the girls who are on the losing side of romances. So, like, they're the childhood friend who loses, or the other girl who loses to the transfer girl, or the kohai who loses to the senpai falling in love with the other senpai. It's all about these beautiful, lovely girls, and the main character who somehow gets pulled into it, and it's funny. So you've got Anna Yanami, who's the girl next door type who can't say no to delicious food. There's Lemma Yakishio, a beautiful and spirited athlete. And then there's Chika Komari, a cute yet shy... That's not telling you anything about it. It's like the cute yet shy heroine with gentle charm. And it's like, she's in the literature club. Like, that's her main trait. She loves books. Yeah,
gotcha.
like, so together they navigate the awkward setbacks, hoping to finally find love. Now, the one thing I've really enjoyed about this is every 4 episodes, the outro changes to focus on one of each of the girls.
Aww.
And each of those 4 episodes is their arc.
Oh, cute.
So the first 4 episodes focus on Anna and her relationship with the main character. And I don't mean relationship as in get together. And it's very funny. There's lots of... Anna likes to eat. And
relatable.
Because of that, people on Reddit started counting her calories.
Yeah.
On per episode, like how much did she eat this episode?
Like one of them was like 60,000 or something.
Yeah, like she eats enough for like a week in one episode.
Yeah.
You're like, this is one day though.
Hey, looks grown girls.
Grown girls, like, don't get me wrong. She's an airhead, and she's obviously like the way they've. As is typically the case, the main character will tend to go for the first girl who is introduced in this sort of, harem setup. They do make a good match for one another. Lemon's fantastic. Typical tomboy sporty girl. Full of energy. Hilarious. And then you've also got Komari as well. So Anna gets rejected... Well, doesn't get rejected by her crush, but basically pushes her crush onto her closest friend, who is a exchange student, and they fall deeply in love. Lemon, her senpai, she's always been interested in, gets a girlfriend, and Komari, she's in love with the president of the literature club, and her confession does not go as planned. So, and it's all of them find a level of, balance that works for them, but it's goofy as like it's really dumb things. Like the main character and Komari, they are comparing which taps in the school taste best for drinking from. It's like, no, you want to go to this one in the morning because it's got that real crisp morning texture flavor because it's sat in the tube overnight. And it's just like, okay.
You didn't do that in school?
No.
Oh man.
Some
every
water fountains
lunchtime
just taste better than others.
Yeah. Every lunchtime, me and my friends would sit near the one that tasted good because we did the math and we found out that certain ones were refrigerated and certain ones weren't. And you had to find the good ones.
In fairness, I probably did, but it's been a long time since I was in school. Like,
dude, 20 years.
Over 20 years, yeah. Like, It's like, I have been out of school longer than I was in school, including university, so yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, this is A1 Pictures, so it's beautifully animated. Like, holy cow, this is like Sakuga out of the wazoo. It's amazing. Highly recommend you go watch it. It's Crunchyroll worldwide, unsurprisingly, because A1's owned by Sony, which is, so on. It's also on Bilibili, IQIYI, Bahamut Anime Crazy, and Annie Plus Asia as well. So plenty of places you can go and check it out. Tifa, vampires and streaming.
Yeah.
Mayonaka Punch. Fill us in.
Yeah, so basically it's like a supernatural show, but also to do with YouTubers, which they call new-tubers because they can't use YouTube, obviously, and they do like live streams and content and all that kind of stuff, and they find success in using vampires to kind of launch their new YouTube channel because the main character gets kicked out of her old one, and that works really well, but obviously they can't really showcase that vampires exist in the real world, so they gotta take it down and start again. But it's
it was
so
CGI,
funny.
we promise. Yeah.
We're paid actors.
Like, it's really funny. It's really goofy as well.
Yeah, and
like,
their like character design and the art style is really cool as well because it's just so
beautiful.
vibrant and fun, and I love watching things about YouTube and content creation and stuff because it's just funny to see how other people, especially in other countries, how they interpret it as well, because I think content creator culture in Japan is so different from here. Even though some things are the same, we've learnt that in Japan fans can be a lot harsher. Even though we think that fans and people that watch are quite mean here, they go so much further in Japan, and there's no laws to protect anyone as well. So seeing someone being kicked out of a YouTube group because they did something that's like a cancelable event, basically, so they're being cancelled and they're getting pushed out. It's really interesting to see how that happens, whereas like here, let's take Logan Paul, for example, who was cancelled for doing something in Japan, still has a really big career. So even if someone is quote-unquote cancelled as a YouTuber, it doesn't mean that's the end of their career, and it's kind of like they're showing that maybe that's the case here in Japan as well, but there's so many more different struggles because they take it on board. Like, they're like, no, we don't want to watch this person, so that's why she can't be in front of the camera, she just produces.
Why is Logan Paul still a thing?
Because he knows how to tick the right boxes to piss people off.
Yeah.
I think Logan Paul's strategy of being the douchebag after that happened worked really well for him, especially in the WWE, because he's the one everybody boos, right? And that's purposeful. So I think his strategy to do that after those events was really smart, and that's probably why. But
I don't think that's why WWE bought him.
But like I think that's why he continues to be.
We know we can use this against him, and it will work well, and we will make money because people will come to our shows to boo him.
To watch him get the kicked out of him.
No languages.
Is that not okay?
It is not okay.
I tried to censor that one.
Poopy. You have to say poop.
Poopy.
Doopy.
That's okay. I'll just beep it.
Okay, cool.
And then I'll beep that poopy too for a laugh. Anyway.
Just censor it, but instead of it, just like put you saying poopy over the
But just like really monotone.
Poopy. So this is on Crunchyroll, also Bahamut Crazy Anime Crazy Anyone Asia as well, with subs in a lot of languages actually. It has kind of flown a little bit under the radar, which is disappointing because the animation style is beautiful and the story is really well paced along with being interesting.
It's just really fun. Like, it's just, you can put it on at any time. You don't need to be in the right headspace to watch it. And there's like just really fun moments. You kind of can relax and watch.
It is chaotic in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Kenny's choice, which is the Elusive Samurai. This is beautiful.
Very beautiful.
My God, is it pretty. This was done by Cloverworks. Final episode at time of recording is due to drop in this weekend, I think. This is based in history. It is historical. It is about samurai. It's an adventure comedy, shonen, but it's really well done. So this focuses on the fall of the Kamakura shogunate. So Kamakura has built the cornerstone of the Japanese government with a samurai class, but all comes crumbling down as long-trusted vassal Takauji Ashikaga betrays the shogunate and sets up a rebellion. Hojo Tokiyuki, the rightful heir to the shogunate, has lost everything and been knocked down into the depths of despair and hopelessness. A Shinto priest named Yorishiro Suwa takes his hand, and together they escape Kamakura, which is now in flames. Now, having escaped the area, Tokiyuki has arrived in Suwa's territory, where he meets friends he can trust to build up power to take back Kamakura for his own. Our hero overcomes this wave of a changing period by running away and staying alive, doing quite the opposite of what a samurai would do, which is fighting and dying. In this time of chaos filled with heroes, Tokiyuki's game of tag to reclaim the throne is about to get underway. So, yeah, the whole thing is he was the samurai that ran around and dodged people and actually used tactics as opposed to just standing there and getting cut down. And yeah, it's obviously taken a lot of artistic liberties from the history, but it's good.
I think there was a character based on that in Sengoku Basara.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he had a giant wok on his back and he had a big beetle horn on his helmet, so he just looked like a beetle.
Oh, nice.
And he'd scurry around.
He's the beetle man. Hercules.
No, not Hercules.
Anyway, this is stunning. It is a brilliant story. It's very popular. It's done quite well in the anime rankings. What's it called? Like the... You know the one that we see, anime ratings polls that we see with that company, the YouTube channel that does it. It is on a lot of places. Netflix in some areas, along with Crunchyroll in most areas. It's got a sub-dub in English, French, Brazilian, Portuguese, Hindi, Latin American, Spanish. It's also on Cub.mu, which I do not think I've heard of before, but looks like it might be a Southeast Asian streaming service, considering Crunchyroll has kind of got a bit of a...
Oh, yeah, it's Indonesian.
Coverage. Is it?
Yeah, I just
okay, there you go. Bahamut Anime Crazy, Annie Plus, and IQIYI are all other places you can watch it, but for most of us, I think it will be Crunchyroll, will be the main point of access. At this point, I believe it's only going to be 12 episodes. Yes, so this weekend's is the final episode. I'm hoping for a sequel because it's really good. I'm only halfway through because we're a bit behind on everything, but as we said, with this season being a little bit thinner, it means we can catch up on a lot of these great shows. So I'm quite excited to sit down and just binge watch that. Along with the next show, I Parry Everything. Episode 1, I Parry a Cow. Not even kidding. That is the title of it. It's not a cow, it's a minotaur, but he's dumb and doesn't know what a minotaur is. Or a cow. He's never even seen a cow, so he thought that was a cow. He'd only read about them in books. It's like, it's got horns and okay, yeah, that's a cow. I will parry it.
I think I need to watch this.
You do.
I think
really
I have a
goofy.
friend who this is about. You said that and I was like, oh, it's a himbo. I know who it is.
It's also kind of similar to this. So this one, and there's another one honorable mention this season, which is Osan Newbie Adventurer, two of which were Emma's picks. They're both about himbo-y kind of guys who don't realize how strong they are. In a good way, and it's not a power fantasy in that way where it's like, you know, they're so powerful and like, you know, yeah. It's just good fun. It's just like you don't actually realize how strong you are. And it's like, oh, that must have been a mistake. Like, wow, I wasn't strong enough to beat even a cow, man. And these things roam the wild.
Last Dungeon Boonies.
Yeah, it's bingo, yeah. So the Kingdom of Clays faces a dire crisis as an assassination attempt which has been made on its Princess Lindbergh, and now its neighbouring countries eye the aftermath like starving vultures plotting the kingdom's downfall. The ensuing conflict will shape the face of the continent for centuries to come. But Nor doesn't have a clue about any of that. Having freshly arrived at the royal capital after over a decade of rigorous, isolated training at his mountain home, he's dead set on achieving his childhood dream of becoming an adventurer, even if the only skills he possesses are useless ones. He, in the very first episode, goes and trains at all of the possible adventure training camps and gets kicked out of every single one of them because he can't master any of the skills. The only skill he managed to master was Parry. And he's like, that's really good. But you need at least 2 skills to qualify to be an adventurer, and he's got 1.
Oh.
So they're like, sure, Noor can parry thousands of swords in the span of a single breath, but everyone knows you need more than that if you want to be an adventurer. So our hero's road to making his dreams come true will be a long and arduous ? But if there's one thing Noor's not afraid of, it's some good old-fashioned hard work. So because he's super strong and he's in the city, he is doing manual labor jobs. But he is like so much more powerful than all the other laborers. Like people will be carrying one block of cement and he'll be carrying a tower of it on the shoulder sort of thing.
Can we get him to combo with Shangri-La?
It'd be so good. Studios OLM, it's on High Dive, and it is so good. I only started watching it last night. Emma started watching it last week and binged the whole thing in one sitting. And that's rare for her. So, yeah. Highly recommend it. It's good fun. If you're looking for something where you don't have to think too much about the stories or how it goes, that's the way to do it. If you're in France and Germany. I can't say things properly today.
German B.
Animation, so ADN, Animation Digital Network, will be your main point. Bilibili, Bahama Anime Crazy, Kubmu in Indonesia, Muse Asia for subbed in Chinese and English, Muse Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, Taiwan, and Vietnam also, all on the Muse network. So it's got pretty wide distribution considering. Do recommend checking it out. It's good fun. We do have a couple of other honorable mentions from the season because there was just too much not to talk about. So if you're after a shoujo romance, Dahlia in Bloom is really good. That's about a girl who's basically, it is a reincarnation story, but the reincarnation isn't too important of it. She becomes an inventor. She creates like runed devices and starts coming up with ideas from the original world, like a hairdryer and stuff like that. But it's really beautifully done. Oshinoko Season 2, which is the whole stage play arc, as Tifa and I are both very well aware of. It is... I didn't think the animation could get better.
I know, right?
Like, oh my god. Holy cow, was it good. Osan Newbie Adventurer, same principle as the elusive... Not elusive, I mean, I'll parry everything. Except that, he was a guild receptionist and then he went out into the wilderness and was trained by a group of random adventurers out there. Turns out they are the most powerful party in the land. He has no idea. So he's come back to register as an adventurer at 30 and everyone's like, aren't you too old for this?
Hey!
Yeah, right?
I can still adventure.
He ain't, and he's OP. They've basically just trained... This party has basically trained him up because they had a slot to fill, and he doesn't seem to realize it. And they're just like, no, you be good addition, like sort of thing. Then you've also got, for your romance, Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. We kind of, played this down a little bit this season because we wanted to see how they were going to handle the adaptation. It's good. It has been done really well. It does have some... questionable scenes in it, but it's also hilarious, so it's really well done. And then of course reincarnated as a slime Season 3, also just coming to an end. I think it's got one more episode left. The first half is all about the church fight story arc, and the second half is all about the Tempest Foundation Festival. So actually inviting other nations in for a massive festival party, and it's really good. You get to meet a lot of the people we've seen in the background throughout the series and get to learn who they are and how they actually play into everything. So it's really good. You learn a lot. So if we've missed one of your picks from this season, which is entirely possible because there was a lot this season, this should have been the autumn season. This is normally how full the autumn season is. Let us know in the comment section below. There was a lot to cover, and look, we greatly enjoyed this season, so can recommend 10 out of 10. On that bombshell, let's get stuck into some news.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Tonight on Anime Communique.
Great story, compelling and rich.
Nothing brings ratings up like a little controversy.
Oh no. I actually don't have something controversial to start us with for once.
Controversial. Netflix is doing a Tomb Raider anime. It comes out this season.
There we go. It doesn't look great.
No, I've got controversy. The Digimon movie's coming back to US cinemas, and they're not putting the Angela Anaconda bit in it.
No!
How could they?
I actually love Angela Anaconda.
I do have a controversy. Under Ninja's getting a live action, and we don't know why.
See, look, there we go. 3 controversies done.
Yeah. All right. We'll quickly run through this. So I think we talked about Under Ninja about 2 seasons back. Under Ninja was one of those really weird shows. And I don't say that lightly. It was
not like one of the good weirds.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
So basically, the setting is that after World War II, Allied Command in Japan developed a new agency to help manage terrorism and violence within the Pacific region. The agency was staffed with ninjas, and they were initially tasked to handle domestic affairs, and eventually that program grew to its current form with 20,000 ninja across a range of domestic and international affairs. One of these ninjas happens to be Kuro. The 17-year-old high school loser is now poised to be the next line of defense against a potential surge in foreign assassins invading Tokyo. I don't think he's actually 17. I think he's like 30 and pretending to be 17 from memory.
21 Jump Street.
There's a lot of weird stuff, and that, to be honest, that works really well for casting. So
that's true.
It's a weird show, like really weird. If you're into that kind of like unhinged humor of randomness, if you like the Mighty Boosh,
oh Lord,
this will be right up your alley. And that's not an anime for those who haven't heard of it. It's
don't.
It's a British drug-fueled TV show. Anyway, let's move on to actual good and interesting news. First up, Kyoto Animation is producing the anime of Keiichi Arawa's City manga. Now, Keiichi Arawa, you might have heard of, who did My Ordinary Life, which is also known as Nichijou. Character styles are very similar. Everyone's been waiting for this to come out. Tea or coffee? What are you doing, Aaron?
Tifa's having a drink.
I
was making fun of her.
Just watching me have coffee in my little bunny mug, which the light is.
That's actually adorable.
Thank you.
So the City the animation is it's the first non-sequel anime from Kyoto Animation in 6 years. So that's kind of a big deal. Pretty much this is the first proper series they have produced since the arson attack all those years ago. So since then, they've only produced films and features or OVAs. They haven't actually produced a proper run series. So hopefully this is the beginning of them returning to original form of producing animated series and features. Either way, it's going to be really good. The director is Taichi Ishidate, who did Violent Evergarden Beyond the Boundary. So they've got a pretty diverse set of things with Kyoto Animation there. Let's move on to Netflix. Netflix Geeked was this week. There was a lot announced, including the aforementioned Tomb Raider, the anime, for reasons.
Which, like, visually it doesn't look that bad. It looks fine, but it doesn't give you the same vibes as the game. Like, it doesn't really seem very inspiring.
It's a bit of a, but why?
Yeah.
Like, there's not been anything that it could tie into. Like, I don't know. It just seems like an odd choice of time to do it.
Like, maybe it could be good. I don't know. But it's because, like, yes, the shows like this could work better as an animation rather than a live action. But it just doesn't. Maybe it's just because the trailer isn't giving us very much. It doesn't feel like it's, exciting.
This is true.
But, like, video games are, like, the one medium that if you aren't skilled enough, you don't get to find out what the story is.
Yeah,
so, like, with a lot of people, they can't progress through games because of, like, stuff. So, like, books, TV shows, movies, you just keep powering through, you get the story. Video games, if you can't press X fast enough, that's it. That's the end of the story for you.
Well, I mean, that's obviously why there's so many people who do playthroughs on YouTube now as well.
Yeah, true.
But, like, those kind of suck sometimes, too.
Yeah, well, you've got to find someone who's actually good at it.
Yeah.
It's not like just like raging the entire time on camera. It's like,
but sometimes those people are funny.
Depends on what type of game you're playing, because there are games where it's like, okay, you can rage, but then if you're playing Final Fantasy VII and they're raging because they can't defeat the boss or something like that, you're just like, really? Because it's a story-based game. It's like you're watching the playthrough because you want the story. Like, if you suck at the action and I'm watching it like 10,000 times, then please stop.
Yeah, like cut it out and just put the file in. Yeah. Anyway, there's some tips for YouTubers doing video games with stories. Like, cut out your replays. Just put the finale in.
Unless it's funny like Undertale. Like,
true.
it's fun watching people struggle in that game.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the video game genre has become the new big cash cow, it seems, for Hollywood. So that's probably why Tomb Raider's got one. It's why Magic the Gathering is getting a animation. We're not sure if it's anime or not. Netflix has teased a new Cyberpunk story. We're not sure if it's going to be directly related to Edgerunners. I suspect it probably won't be. I think it'll be another side story happening in the city around that time. It has not revealed any further details, include whether or not the project will be an anime and whether or not it'll be related to Studio Trigger in any shape or form. We'll find out more.
I feel
soon.
like it probably is like Studio Trigger again because it's in production as well, and so a lot of things that kind of are floating around about it insinuate that it is Studio Trigger, but I guess we'll see.
I'm hoping it will be Studio Trigger again because they do deserve another kick at that. They did amazing with Edgerunners, and I would love to see Studio Trigger just basically have a monopoly on doing Cyberpunk anime for Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Because, like, mwah, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
There is the live-action One Piece Season 2 has had its video teaser with Chopper in it. You don't get to see Chopper's face, though.
His little ears are so cute. You can see from behind the way they move is really nice, but
It looks a lot better than what we were expecting.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like they're going to have to do what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog or what they should do with the Minecraft film.
I really hope that they just have one team that's dedicated to just doing Chopper, nothing else, just Chopper.
Chopper and Brooke.
Oh,
are they going to be the
wait
two
for
hardest
Brooke.
ones to do, I think. Or Frankie might be difficult with the arms, but not at the beginning.
I hope they get Jim Carrey for him.
I mean,
know they won't, but oh man, I wish.
I mean, Jim Carrey's technically retired, which is why I was surprised to see him come back for the Sonic film.
He said that he would finish doing the Sonic film, so like he's retired from new projects, but he will continue the ones he's already working on. So
that makes sense.
Plus, Sonic's just that good, man.
Yeah,
and
it's easy enough for him to do that character as well. He just goes in and beats himself.
Yeah, and he just interacts with a couple of puppets.
Yeah. God, actually now I really want to see Jim Carrey dressed as Robotnik in a puppet show. Like, what do you mean?
Oh man, I hope they make that like a credit
behind the
scene.
scenes thing.
He's gone completely nuts, and he's on like somewhere, and he's like, "What do you mean you are not a blue hedgehog? You're a shadow hedgehog." Why are you red?
Can someone clip that, make it a little TikTok for a channel?
Right.
Okay, somebody get me a big mustache and some goggles. Let's do this.
Do you remember like Harry Potter Puppet Pals? It's Sonic Sock Show.
Sonic Sock Show.
There we go. Thank you. That's the way to do it.
Although 3 S's is fine, 4 is bad, right?
2.
2 is bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The SS for
yeah.
Secret Service stuff. I don't know about the 4.
No, 4 was Gridman and Dynazenon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like ZZZ and SSSS.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Sakamoto Days has been announced for January 2025 on Netflix debut as well. It looks great.
That's going to be a good one to watch.
It's going to be a banger. And animated Devil May Cry series is also dropping on Netflix in April. It's going to be 8 episodes.
Yeah, it looks very similar to Castlevania as well, the style.
Yeah.
So.
Are they getting Johnny Young Bush to...
Yes, they are.
Yes.
It has been... That was an update that was confirmed that he is voicing Dante in the English dub version of the show.
Hell yeah.
So it's going to be pretty good. Spice and Wolf. Merchant meets the wise wolf. Wow, I cannot word today.
It's one of those days, man.
Yeah, so for those who are been watching for quite a long time and are aware of this, Spice and Wolf originally ran for a couple of seasons back in the day. It ended up having about 36 episodes. And then it just kind of ended. And then there was a couple of like random OVA projects. Then there was a couple of VR games as well. And now it's back and it's had a full 25 episode run for the first season. Second season has been confirmed. It's apparently going to be 25 episodes as well, which will mean that it will cover more than the original animation, which is good because it was a hard reboot. We thought it was going to be like maybe a continuation or something, but it's captured a lot of the stories that were skipped in the original animation. And yeah, I think hopefully this keeps going. We'll get the full adaptation of the story. I haven't really watched it. I watched the original Spice and Wolf. I watched maybe 3 or 4 episodes of it when I was traveling at one point because I just had it on my hard drive at the time. And you know, you download everything to your tablet and you go, what can I watch while I'm on the plane? And yeah, I enjoyed it, but I never kind of really got too heavily into it. One of my brothers is really big on it, so there you go. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but either way. On that note, My Happy Marriage Season 2 is also confirmed for January 2025. Her family is not everyone's cup of tea. They're horrible people. They're not nice. But that was very, very popular when it came out about 6 months ago. It's also a Netflix anime in this case as well. The original season did really well, and it really got the shoujo people, the shoujo fans, like, whoo.
Got them going good.
Got them going good. They were invested heavily. So that's going to be good. Emma's a big fan of it as well. I believe Kira Lee's also a big fan of it, and we will come back to Kira Lee because we've got some fun news for Kira Lee as well. Pat Labor is getting another new anime project in 2026, apparently. So it's been announced only this week. The original designer is going to direct the anime at JC Stuff, which is different from the prior studios they've worked with. It's going to be called Pat Labor EZY, which just looks like Pat Labor Easy. I don't know. It also has Headgear Presents listed on it, and Headgear are a production group from memory who were involved in quite a few things. They've got quite a few interesting and big names on this who are going to be interesting to see how they go. So they've got a lot of the old Pat Labor stuff. The original creator is doing the designing of the characters. They've got the composer from Pat Labor back as well. They've got the representative director for Genko, who's one of the production companies, involved as well. They did Millennium Actress. Okay. So that's what they're attached to. They've got Gazan handling CG production. I've not heard of them. And Headgear Group is credited for the original story. But there's a lot of people involved in this who did Mobile Suit Gundam, Evangelion, Star Blazers, Food Wars, Pokemon movies. There's quite a cast of thousands on this. I'm hoping this is going to work out pretty good. So we'll see how it all goes. Hopefully they get much better pacing than they've had on the prior Pat Labor works, and which you and I have discussed. Like, we love the story concept, like giant robots, police robots in a city. That's cool. Make it faster.
Yeah, 2 hours of nothing.
And then all crammed in at the end. On the note of interesting ones that are coming out, and I only found this last night. This is a new original animation series by director Yasomi Uetsu. It's called Virgin Punk, and it's been done by Studio Shaft. It is the first story in a series of films heading to cinema through Aniplex. These are all cyberpunk-esque stories. They are highly, beautifully animated. And this one, the first one, is going to be called Clockwork Girl. It's very reminiscent of, like, man, the character design reminds me of, like, Alita Battle Angel OVAs. The guy who's in charge of it has done a lot of unusual things as a director. He did Kite, Mezzo Forte, Girls High, Kiss and Cry film. He's directing it at Shaft, but he's also been an animator on heaps of things, including like the original Akira film. So, you know, his input's going to be good. The series composition is being done by Yuya Takahashi, who did Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible and Lupin the Third Part 6. Part 4. And there's a lot of people in the main animators, including Josie the Tiger and the Fit, Battle Angel, Alita. Oh, now it suddenly makes sense. And Kizune Monogatari as well. So there's a lot of talented staff involved in this. It's getting good backing. It's shiny. It's at Studio Shaft as well. This could be like a modded sort of like cyberpunk techno noir classic. I'm really excited for it. And on a kind of random note, Makoto Shinkai's 5 centimeters per second anime is getting a live action film. We'll see, because 2 of his other films were getting live actions and that hasn't happened. So that might be a Hollywood thing though. This was originally released in 2007, so Okay, cool. And finally, the oddest thing that we did not expect in 2024, I'd say, is that AMV Hell is back. Now, for those unfamiliar with AMV Hell, AMV Hell is anime music videos from Hell. They everyone submits videos to this group, and they actually disbanded like in 2013 or 14. It's been like a decade.
Yeah, it is at least, yeah.
And they've been doing like a lot of stuff. So first started in 2004. 7 was 2014. It has literally been 10 years. It was the work of an entire community. Everyone would submit their videos to it. They would compile them, take them to anime conventions and showcase them. But obviously there were issues where it was getting, shut down on YouTube and demonetized and stuff like that. Because there were obviously copyright issues, trademark issues and all that. And then, if you have a character saying something they shouldn't, some people's lawyers might come knock on your door. So, when they got to AMV Hell 7, which was their anniversary edition of it, they decided to put it to rest, and then they said ultimately it wasn't just the work of them, it was the whole community. They did then kind of do a few other things, and then for some, I don't know what's caused the comeback for it. They haven't got a listing on their website as to why it is back, but it's been 10 years since, so like this could be another hilarious thing. We could maybe do an AMV episode once this does finally release. Yes. Talk about all the weird history of AMV, some of the most notable ones we remember. And
you mean every single Linkin Park Dragon Ball Z AMV?
Linkin Park just mixed with any shonen.
Disturbed,
Naruto and Sasuke.
1,000-foot crotch,
Breaking Benjamin,
like Sum 41.
Though I got to be honest, like some of the Linkin Park ones were just artistic beauty.
Oh, dude, I was talking about this with Brendan yesterday, and I was like, you could actually watch all of Dragon Ball Z through Linkin Park AMVs.
You can,
funny.
And still get all the story. Like you don't need them talking, because that's how I watched the history of Trunks. There was, I think it was "Forgotten" was the song by Linkin Park. And like I just watched the AMV and I knew exactly what happened in the history of Trunks.
Fair enough. But yeah, so AMV Hell did stop those 10 years ago. They had a couple of spin-offs like AMV Hellspawn and stuff like that, but they never kind of hit the heights that AMV Hell did. So I'm glad to see it's back, and hopefully they'll find a safer way to host it without themselves getting copyright striked, and maybe they can set up a Patreon so people can support them so they can pay the editors, and that way it won't necessarily fall down, because that was the issue. Like the first 3 of them, they were kind of like 10 to 20 minutes, and now they're like 2 hours, and like you need someone to sit there and go through and sort everything and then edit everything and then fix everyone's audio levels, because everyone doesn't know how to edit audio properly.
Yeah. And then make sure the proper audio is put in and not a crunchy version of it.
Yeah, where it's very clear that it has been stolen from somewhere. I mean, look, it has been, because that's how they got it on the video. But like there's a lot to consider for this. So
I mean,
yeah.
Do you know what's like really funny though about Linkin Park being used for so many AMVs is that this year for the League of Legends Worlds, they are the anthem singers, so they have the song for this year's League of Legends.
And they just came back with that new singer.
Yeah. Oh my god, have you heard the new song?
Yes.
It is so
She's
good.
incredible.
She's amazing. Like that's the perfect song to introduce fans to her. Like she can growl. She's got gravel.
I
so
also
she
think
can
it's
do
really good that they didn't choose someone that sounded exactly like him.
Chester.
Like Chester. Like it was someone that can have the same sort of vibes but sounds different, so it doesn't feel like they're replacing him, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, look, they've like Chester's son came out and chucked a tantrum in the media about them, bringing a new singer on, but. No offense to Chester, I adored him and I was a massive Linkin Park fan, but he wasn't a founding member.
And it's also been a fair while.
It's been 7 years, and they have done a lot to honor his memory. They have re-released all of his music. They've released unreleased tracks that he recorded. All of the funds went to his family. Like they have done everything they can to support his family, but they have a project they love doing together. And sure, some of the members have left, so the drummer has decided he doesn't want to continue, and that was kind of the case after Chester passed. He decided, look, I think I can't put my heart back into this. And the guitarist is focusing on the production side of it. So he's still writing the songs, but he won't be on stage performing. He'll be doing the back end stuff, so all the studio work and all that. And that's because he actually never liked being on stage. So it's like, you know, it all makes sense. Like, and the people they've brought in, it still sounds like Linkin Park. Like, you know, they've done a good job of it, and I'm very excited.
It's a legacy work.
It is, and I'm very impressed with it. So, yeah, hopefully that means we'll get AMV Hell 9 with Linkin Park again.
Back to the roots.
Ooh. I'm gonna be sad.
Oh no!
Oh no! And on that bombshell,
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
anyway, that is where we're going to leave things for this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you have enjoyed what you've heard, hit the subscribe button and all those good things and join us for the future stuff. Next time, we are taking a 1-episode break. So we will be back on the 21st of October for our Halloween episode, because Emma and I are getting married, so like, you know, yay! You know, a bit hard to record a podcast while you're on the days, so you know.
No, we're gonna get an altar podcast for you guys.
Look, we will share some photos because we are nerds, not necessarily of us in outfits, but some of the nerdy stuff around the venue. We'll maybe share that to Patreons. Anyway, for our Halloween episode, as always, this means it is up to you, our fellow Patreons, to vote and choose what our topic will be. The poll will be up shortly on Patreon following the dropping of this episode, and for all members, even from $1 a month, you can, as usual, the poll will be open for 2 weeks, and that then gives us a little bit of time to prepare for the episode depending on what you've chosen. Themes will have some carryovers from last year and one new one as usual. Now, if you would like to get in that voting action and support the channel, join the Patreon. We share extra content such as episode outtakes, video extras, show updates. We also have the pre-show, which is a whole other podcast of us talking completely unscripted before the show while we get ready, and as general, just be pretty inappropriate.
Oh yes, the Kira news.
Oh yes, we cannot forget that. Kira Lee, our wonderful presenter, has been over in Sydney for Oz Comic Con, and she won the cosplay competition with her incredible Donald Duck outfit, and it is magical. Like,
it's the Kingdom Hearts one as well.
Yeah.
I remember when she brought it out at HoshiCon, and rightfully so, she won the best craftsmanship because hands down that thing was phenomenal, and there was just like the hush that went across the stage as all the kids just went, Donald?
Where's my healing?
Where's Goofy? So look, massive props to her. She also won some stuff at the Perth Royal Show for non-anime and cosplay stuff.
Actually, she got one for an anime-related one.
Oh, she did?
Yes, 3rd prize for her Vegeta wig.
Ooh. Beautiful. Is that in the cosplay category?
Yes.
Ah, fantastic. Nice. And yeah, and she also did like a bag.
Yes,
like she's made some like really like serious like fashion designer stuff, not just like cosplay outfits. Like Kira Lee's skills are legit,
hands down.
Yeah. And one of our good friends as well, who does like Renaissance and historical outfits, won the first prize of the cosplay outfits as well. Yeah. First time she's ever put anything in as well. So good on her. That's the Princess of Perth. Which she's like, I wish I didn't choose that name now.
What's her partner go by? The Duke?
The Duke Down Under.
Duke Down Under.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a good kind. Me and so Chris who is the Duke Down Under, is one of my best men for the wedding. So because they're all the bestest of men's.
Is that why I was cut? I get it now. I get it now.
You are the worstest of men's, and that's why I love you.
That's why I'm on the show.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times.
I'm definitely the blurst one.
No, it's because I need your help. I actually need to ask you to help me with a couple of things that are on the day, because I'm not going to be able to move things while wearing a suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they're not like messy things, but I'll just be like moving some.
You need the muscle.
I do. So I'll get you and Terry, who's going to be here for it. I wonder if we can. Yes, I have plans. Either way, weddings are happening, and then we're back to Japan for the honeymoon. So that's February next year. So that's going to be exciting. Tifa, when's your next trip to Japan? When are you booked?
Next month.
Next month, nice. We're looking forward to more pictures.
More content.
We're obsessed. The gates are open. Yes. So as always, you can find us over everywhere, platform-wise. Big thanks to our Patreons and supporters. If you'd like to join the community, we're on the socials and stuff like that. We will be getting rid of X at the end of the year after the literally from December onwards. We're not going to be using X Twitter anymore, yep, just so everyone's aware, you can find us over on other things, so Facebook, Instagram, Discord, TikTok, Threads.
We need to do more TikTok things.
Yeah, well, I mean, we probably do, but
Tifa, you mean? Let's go.
All right,
Let's
look,
go.
if you've got some ideas of stuff and want to put it together, I'm happy to throw it up. So, all over everything, all over the keyboard. Anyway, that's kind of it. So we'll be back on October 21st for spooky season. As we did say, Patrons, remember to go check the Patreon channel and the feed so that you can vote on the poll. And that's kind of it. So thank you very much for listening. You've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thanks for joining us, and until next time,
watch some anime.
Let's all go get more coffee.